This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up? Back with another one, and today we are breaking down Kevin Durant's comments on D-Wade, D-Wade's response, and Gilbert Arenas adding historical context. So let's check this clip out.
Yesterday, Kevin Durant was asked about a recent Sports Illustrated ranking of the top 10 players in the NBA, and this is what he had to say.
Who's missing from the top 10?
I think you're missing James Harden.
All right, so if you're missing Harden, who do you take off the list?
Dwayne Wade.
So, all right, Harden for Wade.
D-Wade did not like that, so he posted this. KD said James Harden should replace me in the top 10. Note to self, make him respect your place in history again. So recently, Kevin Durant was speaking on James Harden and D-Wade again. So take a listen to what he had to say, and then we're going to listen to what D-Wade had to say.
I might have to disagree, because when D-Wade won that first championship, I think that's what people even having this argument about D-Wade and James, because that championship that D-Wade won,
the first one,
and the style he won it in was insane. Everything was downhill, pick and roll to the cup. I'm scoring tonight. Dolo. Shaq was out there.
Yeah.
Second option. And he had shooters around him, and Posey and Antoine Walker, and he had backup point guards that could help him. Who that sound like? James Harden. James Harden played that same style. A pick and roll, going downhill, big that can catch a lob with shooters around him, and I can go get you a bucket. James Harden played that same type of style. He didn't have that moment that D-Wade had, being able to come down 3-1, Pat Riley, Miami Heat organization. There's a lot of work in D-Wade's favor, and he had to show up, but there's a lot of work in his favor for him to win that championship.
So at y'all table,
but I don't feel like D-Wade. I don't feel like D-Wade's style of play is just more conducive to winning than James. I don't agree with that. I feel like they both are winning players that could contribute to great teams. You know what I'm saying? D-Wade didn't have to do as much for them last two championships.
It was incredible, was needed, you know what I mean, as a second option on the team. But that was my leading man moment. And I stepped up to when my name was called, right? And
yes.
It's really cool for me to always hear the way that Hoopers, like everybody think that we, as Hoopers, we all think the same.
Right.
We all view the game the same. You know, we see the game the same. We don't. And so it's always good for me to be able to hear hoop heads, hoop greats talk, and you see the way they see the game. And we respect KD over here because he's one of them dudes when it comes to the game of basketball. And I don't play the game the way that KD played the game, right? We play different styles. And so I can appreciate, I think sometimes when people play similar styles, they compare them so much that it makes some people hard to appreciate each other's game. And, I think, so one, shout out to KD for, obviously talking about the 06 run I had, because he right, man, I was downhill. Like, bro, I'm going to get a bucket on you, and I don't care which way it come. It's just going to happen. And you in my way, I'm coming right there.
Yes.
That was like the mentality, right? Like I was just a young free player who had who understood the moment, I think. And then why I say that is because he expressed this a little bit when he talked about James Harden and the comparison between us. And he was saying, like, I see a lot of similarities in their game if you look at, downhill players,
right,
making plays, for them teammates and for themselves and putting pressure on the defense all day long. But for me, at that time in my third year, I understood I really tried to take advantage of that moment, because I knew that this does not happen that often. I may not get this opportunity again, and I can't let this opportunity slide, right? And I didn't know I would go back to the finals 4 more times after that, but like, what if this is my only time, my only chance? And I knew that I had the perfect situation. Like, I had the perfect big man that, Shaq at that time was obviously getting older, but he still can give you 30 and 20 some nights.
Right.
He did it in the Chicago series leading up to it.
Right.
I had the perfect 4-man in UD, just somebody we knew was going to knock down, 15, 17-footer, going to guard the other team's best player, going to do all the dirty work, going to foul him up, going to take up for you.
Straight up.
And then I had the perfect 3-man and 4 and the 3-man and 2-man. Like I had Antoine Walker, James Posey, like the squad. And then on the sideline, Pat Riley, the coaching staff. So everything was set. I had to do my job.
This really puts D-Wade's career into perspective. You see how much timing, teammates, and coaching mattered for his championships, but also how he consistently showed up and took control when it counted. I love how he responds to Durant respectfully, explaining that greatness isn't just about the situation, it's about execution, mindset, and seizing the moment.
And my job, I did very, very well, right? As a young player, just be on the attack. And, you got the ball, do something positive with it more
Right.
times than not. And I try to do that. And so he right. From that standpoint, it's like, a lot of players, they like to, it's some players you can automatically be like, yo, they're just better at this, or they're just greater at this. But when it comes to like winning, sometimes it depends on what situation you get put in.
Consensus has him, 3. I'm pretty sure players have him 3. I don't know. No one's ever questioned who was the 3rd best. I mean, the only person that you would have pushback on is probably Allen Iverson. So if there's going to be a debate, it's probably going to be a debate between Allen Iverson and Dwayne Wade. And I know consensus has James Harden in front of Allen Iverson. From the last one I looked at, it was what? Jordan, Kobe, Wade, Harden, and Iverson 5, right?
Mm.
Is that out? Yeah.
That sounds about right.
So if you're gonna just say like we're gonna argue, right? Who's 3rd, and it's just basketball, no ring talk, then Dwayne Wade and Iverson, that would be the argument.
And you put them above Harden. Just being.
I would put Dwayne in front of Harden because just how he played the game, right? I mean, we watched the glimpses of how dominant he was going to be before Shaq got there. We seen him in the playoffs against that was Hornets, right?
Yeah, was it?
Yeah. Then we seen him the next year. Then we seen him take over. Like we seen what he could have maxed out at being, right? He just had other great players around him that kind of, dimmed his light just a little bit. But we seen it, so the totality of how he played, even in the Olympics, right? He was impactful on that rock star team. So I will have him 3 or 4 with him and AI.
The discussion brings together Kevin Durant, D. Wade, and Gilbert Arenas in a layered conversation about style, opportunity, and legacy. Durant reflects on D. Wade's first championship run by highlighting how aggressive and downhill his approach was, built around constant pressure, pick-and-roll action, and a roster designed to support that attack. He compares that style to James Harden, suggesting both players thrived in systems where spacing and decision-making mattered, and that Wade benefited from ideal timing, coaching, and organizational structure. D. Wade responds with respect and perspective, explaining that players can see the game differently without diminishing one another. He openly accepts that his championship situation was well constructed, but emphasizes that execution still matters, especially when the moment demands leadership. Wade explains that he embraced responsibility, understood the rarity of opportunity, and attacked relentlessly because that was his role. He frames success as a blend of preparation and circumstance rather than a simple comparison between players. Gilbert Arenas then broadens the debate by focusing on historical context and impact. He argues that D. Wade's early peak, two-way play, and postseason performances firmly place him among the greatest shooting guards ever.